the biggest problem with World of Warships Legends, a topic that has been making its way around the community. Both fellow content creator Spartan Elite 43 and Hivehound have made videos, and we're today going to respond to them. Also, just kind of put in our own thoughts about the current biggest issues with this game, what we would like to see done to fix it, maybe get a little spicy with our takes. If that sounds good, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. But with all that said, let's first dive on in and talk through the parts that Spartan brought up. I highly recommend you go and watch both of their videos. I'll have them linked down in the comments below. But Spartan basically elicits one major problem and then recommends multiple solutions to fix said problem. He says the key issue with this game is that the matches are too short, that the potatoes are potatoing too quickly, and we need to find a way to fix that. And I find that interesting. As he brings up, the initial brief, the gameplay design idea behind World of Warships Legends is to bring World of Warships from the PC, but bring it abridged, a shorter version, a more compact version, both in the ships and in the length of matches. And of course, we do know that they trimmed the lines a lot, mainly cutting out some of the early fat on all of the lines to squeeze down the lines to be at launch 7 tiers, but they also squeezed down the matches, and they did that in 2 ways. The first is they eliminated 3 ships from each side. PC has 12 players on a team. We have 9 players on a team. The other way, and this gets into one of his points, is they moved the spawns forward. What this does is it reduces the amount of time until other ships are spotted. So it reduces the amount of time until you can go shooty at those boats. This means, instead of taking 2 minutes to sail from what would be the back of the map for us, or what would usually be the PC spawns, we spawned up halfway from the back of the map into where there are more islands. And I will say that at the current moment, this system works for most of the ships, but as we move into the higher tiers, it affects one specific kind of player the most, and it's going to be battleship players. It's not surprising. We know Spartan is a battleship main, and therefore it is something that is going to be on the top of his mind. Well, when you get up to the higher tiers, all of a sudden, those places that were decent spawns for the rest of the players, for the rest of the tiers, start to get a little cramped. They start being a little close to your initial detectability range, which means battleships, especially at the high tiers, get spotted rather quickly into a match, which then incentivizes them, throwing it into reverse and trying to get as far away as possible because they can't get a forward turnoff in the amount of time. And what Spartan recommends, and what I sort of agree with, is for tier 7 and up, moving the spawns back. He says 5 kilometers. I don't know if we need to go that extreme. I think Hive suggests 3 kilometers, and I kind of like that idea because at that range, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be running the concealment mod on your battleship in order to get a stealthy turnoff on all of the maps, the way it kind of sort of is right now. Additionally, it will then further incentivize ship builds that focus on like speed, right? One of the big plus sides, supposedly, to the recent French heavy cruisers is their speed. But if everyone spawns so close, they don't have as much of time to get into advantageous positions. So moving those spawns back just a little for the upper tiers, I think absolutely makes sense. It's the next suggestion that I'm going to take a little bit of ire with. The other thing that Spartan says causes these short games is our auto aim. It's that people are, going broadside in the early game, and then you just have to look at them, pull the trigger, and, you can get a relatively easy dev strike on these potatoes who are going out and just firing the guns. I know Hive disagrees with that, and I would too, because Hive's main point is if we remove auto aim, the players who use it as a crutch right now will get sick and tired of the game and will leave. And I slightly agree with that. But the other part of this is, well, if you remove auto aim, you are extending the skill ceiling to this game. And we already know that there is a large skill gap in this game. So to expand it even further with the just ability to do damage seems like a recipe for just widening what teams are going to win. Unless you want to go full skill-based matchmaking, start giving every player a behind-the-scenes elo, and then building ranked or building teams so that they are equally matched. And thereby understanding which players know how to aim and which don't, and giving an equal number to each team. The auto aim allows for teams to be relatively equal as far as accuracy goes, thereby, in theory, reducing the skill gap and tightening the games. But, I'm down for a little experiment, see if that actually would end up being true. But that's just my thought. And those are the two main points that that both Spartan and Hive kind of reacted to. But I would like to submit my biggest issue with this game, and that is the lack of variety. This is an issue I brought up last year when talking about this topic of what I would like to see improved with World of Warships, but variety is king. And I think while yes, some goals and some things have been accomplished, the work should never stop. And the first thing is, I do think we need a slight shift in the current meta. I think because of the spawns and the concealment, battleships are kind of forced to be in a bow-in meta, right? That is the way we see the majority of the battleships play. And it gets kind of sick, kind of old. There's two ways we could address this. One, we could try the approach of moving the spawns back. There are also other things that could come along, like new ships, like the Dutch cruisers, which could force battleships to move because of their airstrike consumable. We could see that added into the game, or just more ships overall, though I do feel like we are starting to get close to the PC on the number of like standard lines that are in the game. Of course, we don't have the hybrid ships, nor do we have the number of aircraft carriers or subs. We don't want subs that are in the PC version. And, I think aircraft carriers we're going to be okay from. Good job to our player base. I think generally there's such a low number of players actually playing aircraft carriers that they have really not decided to develop them any further over here. If you've noticed, when was the last time they introduced a new carrier? It feels like they sort of planned the 4 branches as the initial release, planned a couple of premiums, saw that they didn't sell well, probably, and have since decided to focus the development resources elsewhere. So shout out to all of us for saying fuck carriers. Go teams. Other things I'd like to see to help with the lack of variety in this game: more new maps. Scandinavia is great, and I'm really enjoying it, but more is going to be better. Also, I've said this once before, but we do have the issue in this game of the tiny games because of people turning off crossplay. Unfortunately, there is no way for Wargaming to turn off the ability to disable crossplay. It is part of PlayStation's terms of use for enabling crossplay, is that there has to be an option to turn it off. Now, we could force the people who have crossplay off just to wait for a full match, which is one solution. The other solution could be to let the players, when they're in those tiny teams, to play on the smaller tier like 5 maps, you know, the half maps. That could be fun. The final way that I would like to see this game changed or to add some variety is to add some new modules. Variety is the spice of life. I think the epic and legendary mod situation was a cool idea, and it adds further gameplay to the later tiers. But I would like to see more gameplay just added to the game overall, and I'd love to see some new modules. Give me modules that extend radar or sonar duration. Give me a prop mod that boosts the speed of the ship. Give me a mod that gives me extra torp reduction or reduces the chance of flooding. Like, give me mods that affect other aspects of the ships and put them in places that makes it a difficult decision on what I want to use. That is what needs to be done. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. If you liked this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.